in this consequence of uncaught exception. This means if you are not provided whatever the error then system will generate JVM, right? System in the sense JVM, Java Virtual Machine, will give you the type of an error has occurred in your program. Okay, so that we have learned. Now let us see. Also we have seen this multiple catch statement in the last class, right? So using multiple catch statements, as if you know the types of an error in your program, according to your program you are specifying the types of error may causes, right? Your arithmetic exception is there. What does this arithmetic exception means? It is division by zero error. Array index out of bound exception means, so here you are accessing array out of bound of exception while processing, right? So these are the array bound of exceptions. So for that you are displaying no matching element found. If you have not specified these, then what happens? System will give according to the exception has occurred in your program, right? Now let me see this sample program. uh, yes, you can specify array index out of bound of exception, and please make a note. So I think it is visible, but let me give a zoom. Class error, name of the class is error 4, and the main method I am declaring int a as an array variable, right? And its size is 2 because we have initialized two values. In 0th location 5 is stored, in the first location the 10 is stored, and I am taking one more normal variable int b is equal to 5. I am writing the try block. In the try block I am processing one statement by declaring the variable int x is equal to a of 2. Whether a of 2 location is there? No, right? A of 2 by b minus a of 1. A of 1 in the sense 10. What is b value? 5. 5 minus 10 minus 5. But you are trying to access out of bound exception, then you have written here arithmetic exception? No, it will skip this catch block and immediately it will send here array index out of bound exception. Yes, array index error has occurred, and it will skip this rest statement, right? Your array store exception is also there. So if you try to store wrong data, then it will execute wrong data type. Okay, that is array store exception. And here once again I am processing int y is equal to a of 1 by a of 0. So what is the value of a of y? A of 1, 10. 10 by 5, it will give as an a 2, right? So likewise this program will execute, and it will catch us in try block. What is the exception it is identified? It is array index bound of out of bound of exception, right? And this statement will execute. Got it? And next, catching subclass exception. Now we have to identify the subclass exception. It is an inheritance concept, right? Then how it identifies the subclass exception? There is one important point about multiple catch statements that related to subclasses. It is also related to your subclass. A catch clause causes for a superclass will also match any of its subclass. Suppose if you are catching the error in a superclass, and also it has to be supposed to match in subclasses. Okay, that is the concept. Okay, yes. For example, since the superclass of all exception is throwable, to catch all possible exception, catch throwable. If you specifies the superclass exception as a throwable, then subclass exception is also throwable. These are the keyword. Okay, this by using these three keyword you are catching the exceptions. Okay, if you want to catch exception of both a superclass type and a subclass type, put the subclass first in the catch sequences. If you want to identify the errors in superclass as well as the subclasses, then the catch block should be present in subclass. Okay, if you don't, then superclass catch will also catch all derived classes. If you don't follow this sequence, then whatever the superclass exception will catches all the derived class exceptions. To understand this concept better, let us see this sample example. Okay, so let us zoom it. Okay, let us zoom it out. Now you're seeing, please give us some importance. It is the last program itself only. We are modifying with little modification. Class exe demo file. So name of the class is execute demo file, and here it consists of a main method. In the main method, I have created two variables. In the two variables, these are the array variables. We have initialized its length is 2, 4, 6 and 8, and its length is 6, right? And I'm writing for loop for int I is equal to 0, I less than number dot length. It is 8, condition true. It is entering into the try catch block. In the try block, 4 by 2, number of 0, denom of 0 you are displaying, and you are processing number of 0 by denom of 0. Okay, while processing 4 by 2 it is possible. Next, whenever it comes 8 by 0, it is, whether it is array index out of bound exception, no, right? It is arithmetic exception. But if you see here, I have not written that catch statement. That catch statement related to arithmetic exception. Instead of arithmetic exception, I have used throwable class. Okay, throwable keyword. This throwable keyword is acting as a derived class. Okay, so it can access the error from base class. So it is the derived class object. This is derived class object. So it will identifies the error occurred in our program. According to that error, it will display whatever the output statement we have written. If you don't write this, some exception occurred. If you just print exc, because this is the object, right? In this object the error is exist, right? That error relevant of Java virtual machine, it will print the related arithmetic exception. Okay, yes, hope you understand this concept, right? Add by 0, it is a division by 0 exception. Here it is not mentioned in our catch block, so it immediately comes to your throwable. According to the throwable, it is a derived class. It sends to the super class, and it will display according to that message. Okay, and next, 16 by 4 is possible, 32 by 4 is possible, 64 by 0, it is once again an division by 0 error. It will be catched by this superclass. So hence this throwable is acting as a superclass of an exception. Okay, and now 128 by 8 is possible, 256 by 0, nothing, null, right? Whether it is possible here, no. So it will gives no matching found, and 512 is also, it gives as a no matching found. Okay, so that is the usage of throwable. It catches the superclass. Superclass means it is here acting as a derived class. Through from that derived class, it gives, according to that it will execute. Okay, and now you can also make the usage of try blocks can be nested. What do you mean by nested? Placing of one try catch block in another try block. Okay, one try block within another try block. Likewise, you can make try blocks can be nested. Okay, sometimes it may be required. Okay, so let us understand. For here the example is given relevant to the array index out of bound exception. In this we will see inner catch as well as outer catch. Okay, so sometimes it may be required. We will see here the program. Here the program is appearing, and we are taking the same program, but we are writing two tries. Okay, so same program, but the name of the class has changed, and here the variables has declared the same, and we are taking two try block. Here the outer try, and here it is the inner try. In the outer try, the condition is true, it will enter into the inner try. Inner try you are processing, right? And while processing, this is the inner try, and this inner try's catch is this one only, arithmetic exception only. Okay, and arithmetic exception, it is ends here, and outer catch block is specified here, array index out of bound exception. Okay, yes, please observe here, this try is placed within another try. This try is outer inner try and this is an outer try. This try will act according to the arithmetic exception. This try will act according to the array index out of bound of exception. That's all. That's it. Okay, if no matching element found, then it will print fatal error or program terminated when it will be evaluated at the last. Okay, clear? So we are doing the same program. If you execute this program, it will give 4 by 2 is possible, 8 by 0 is can't divided by 0 because it is arithmetic exception, as we have taken for this try block as a catch block, and for this try block it is a catch block. Okay, so 16 by 4 is possible, 32 by 4 is possible, 64 by 0 is can't divided by 0 because we have written as arithmetic exception. Okay, and next one is 256 is no matching element found. So once it is no matching element is found, it doesn't continues. It will print only one time. Later onwards, it doesn't print. It doesn't carry over. Okay. Yes. And now throwing an exception. So this is a very important concept. Sometimes this question is asked for 2 marks and sometimes it is asked for 6 marks. Okay, throwing an exception. Till now we are creating, we have used built-in exceptions. Okay, those are the built-in exception. Now we will see throwing an exception. Throwing an exception means user defined exception. We can simply say it is an user defined exception. For understanding this, you have to give more attention on this. It is possible to manually throw an exception by using throw statement. Here manually means we have to create our own exception and we have to define our own exception and we have to catch it. If you want to catch your own exceptions, then how it is possible? By using the keyword throw statement. Okay, by using the throw statement it is possible. Let us see the general form. If you observe the syntax of throwing an exception, we have to use the keyword throw exception object. So throw is the class, exception object is the object of this class. Throw is the class, except object is the object of this class. Okay, here it is mentioning the same thing. Here except object must be an object of a exception class derived from throwable class. Okay, here is an example. Illustrate throw statement by manually throwing an arithmetic exception. We are catching manually. Let us see how this program executes. For this, let me join it. Yes, what is the name of the class? Throw demo. Afterwards, what we are doing? Main method, public static void main string args of. Now I'm writing try catch block. Okay, in the try, what I am doing? System dot println before throw it will execute. Afterwards, throw, we are using the keyword throw. Here new means you are creating, right? Which exception you are creating? Arithmetic exception. Which exception you are creating? Arithmetic exception. Got it? Throw means keyword for user defined exception. So here you are creating your own exception. What is the name of the exception? Arithmetic exception, right? So it will be executed, it will be catched by the catch block, and in the catch block you are created the arithmetic exception, right? For that arithmetic exception you are creating the object, you are declaring the object. Through from this, if you give the exec directly, it will print the JVM's error message. If you don't want to print JVM's error message, then you can print your own message, right? Exception caught. After the catch block, whatever the rest statement is exist, it will execute. Here it will execute as after try catch block. Okay, here nothing is there. In our program we didn't have any errors, but we are creating our own errors. We are defining our own errors. Manual creation of errors is possible by using throw keyword, throw statement. Okay, so by using throw, you are creating your own exception. What is the name of the exception you have created here? Arithmetic exception. Got it? So for this, whenever this try block is executed, it will comes to the catch block and it identifies the arithmetic exception, and arithmetic exception variable is there or object is there, and you are displaying your own message, or if you want to display the system message, then exe directly, without instead of this, you can directly print as exe. Okay, so if you try to execute this program, you are getting before throw, next one is exception caught, and last one is after try catch block. Then what you have done in this program, you have created your own exception. Now you are getting a confusion whether we have created any exception. No, we have taken the built-in exception, right? Which built-in exception we have taken? Arithmetic exception. For that, what statement you are printing? Exception caught. So to understanding this concept more, we are having one more example, I think so. We will see. Okay, rethrowing an exception. How exception can be rethrown? An exception caught by one catch statement can be rethrown so that it can be caught by an outer catch. So if you, an exception caught by one catch statement can be rethrown so that it can be caught by outer catch. So if in your program, so several catch blocks are exist. In several catch blocks, some of exception has caught, and that can be rethrown to some other catch block also. That can be rethrown means we can pass it, right? We can pass that exception to some other catch block also. It is also possible. The most likely reason for rethrowing this way is to allow multiple handlers access to that exception. Why we are rethrowing that? For this, we are rethrowing for better checking purpose. Suppose if the system is happening occurs any viruses, then what we have to supposed to do? We have to check, right? So if you check thrice and twice by recatching, then what happens? It will give a strong security measures to your system. So that is why we are using rethrowing an exception concept. Okay, got it? If all the exceptions are catched by the exception presents in catch block, one catch block by the another blocks, then it is a strong integrity testing, a strong integrity exception test. Okay, so likewise we can catch viruses or some other programs. So likewise we can identify the errors in your programs. Okay, for example, perhaps one exception handler manages one aspects of an exception and the second handler copes with another aspects. So here it is saying the same thing. Okay, when you rethrow an exception, it will not be recalled by the same catch statement. Whenever you are rethrowing the catch exception, the same catch block doesn't catches, but the other catches can be catch that exceptions, and for the testing purpose only. Okay, it will propagate to the next catch statement. To understanding this better concept, we would like to have rethrowing an exception program. Here the program is there. Let me check. So we have to give more attention. If you don't give the attention, then this concept won't understand. So we are writing the same program, but you just observe here a little modification as done in the last program. Okay, what is the name of the class? Rethrow. Here public static void gen exception is there. Okay, so what is the method name? Gen exception. Its return type is void and it has declared as public as well as a static, right? In this method I am declaring two array variable of length 8 and 6. Number length 8 is a number array variable is of length 8 and denom is of 6. Okay, and next we are writing the same for loop for int I is equal to 0, I less than number dot length. If condition is true, it will enter into the try block, and according to the scenario it will process, right? Number of 0 by denom of 0, 4 by 2. Whether it is divisible? Yes. 8 by 0, it is an error, right? So for this we have written catch block. Please observe here. For this, for what? 8 by 0, right? As well as 64 by 0, right? For this, we have written a catch block, that is arithmetic exception. Arithmetic exception object is there. Now you are displaying your own message, count divided by 0. You have provided, right? This is one catch block. And I am writing one more catch block that indicates array index out of bound exception. Array index out of bound exception. So here what I'm doing, I'm displaying no matching element found. Whenever it is possible, whenever you are dividing 256 by null, 512 by null, at that time what you are doing, you are doing no matching element found. Here you are using concept of a throw keyword exe. Throw exe. Once again you are rethrowing the exception, right? You are rethrowing, but the same catch block is not identified. This catch block will checks whether the same is error or other things. Okay, yes. So here this class is ending with the name of the method is gen exception. Now I'm writing one more program, one more class, right? In the same notepad, we have to do this, and while saving you have to check whether the main method is exist or not. Class rethrow demo, class rethrow demo main method. I'm using the try block. In the try block I'm calling, this is the class object, right? Object dot gen exception, class dot gen exception. Okay, we have not created any, object, but it is also a way of accessing of a class. Rethrow class, which class you are accessing? Rethrow class dot gen exception. So whenever you're calling this gen exception method, whatever the statement you have provided, according to that statement it will execute. And after that, here also try block, we are calling that method here, having catch block. In this catch block we have given array index out of bound exception. Array index out of bound exception, it will try to recatches, only it will catches array index out of bound exception. It doesn't catches for arithmetic exceptions. Okay, so why? Because we have used throw exception here, and hence it will be recatches. Okay, then it will give as a fatal error, and whatever the statement you have specified, it will execute. So here clearly it is given in this program, divided by 0 errors are handled locally by gen exception, but an array index out of bound of exception error is rethrown. Why? Here the catch block, we are catching this block, and we are once again it is checking, and it will be executed. Got it? In this way the main method catches and checks the twice of the prescribed exceptions. Okay, and next our concept is using finally. Already I told you the question may ask in the form of explain, final, finalize, and finally. Okay, explain, final, finalize, and finally. Already we know what is the keyword final called. If you are using the keyword final, then the variables or methods, whatever the variables or whatever the method you have declared with the keyword final, it is acting as a constant. If you are using the finalizer or finalize, then that is acting as a destructor. And using finally means whatever the rest statement after the try catch block, it will execute irrespective of a try catch or thrown. Got it? So as we have learned this finally in your vb.net, the same concept here it is doing. Let us see here. Using finally, the finally class is an optional class of try catch block. The finally class is an optional class of try catch block. Okay, yes, the statement within the finally clauses are executed irrespective of the fact that an exception is thrown or not. So what does it means? Even if the try catch block may or may not execute or exit, at last this finally statement will supposed to be executed. Okay, typically the statement within the finally clauses do cleanup a process such as releasing resource, closing files, save status of the process. Actually, we are saying that instead of a try catch block, finally statement is execute rather than this try catch block, right? So then what is the usage of this finally? This finally clause do cleanup process. Cleanup process means, let us just see it releasing the resources. Whatever the process acquired the resource, it is releasing, and you are closing the files, right? So the finally statement is helps to closing those files and save the status of the process. Save the status of the process means how long it has been processed. Got it? The try block must be accompanied at least one catch block or the finally block. Here the note is given this finally it must consist of try block or it must consist of one catch block or finally block. Okay, so we will see the syntax. Here the syntax, try block is given. In the try block, here the block of code to the monitor for errors or exist. Here the catch block is there, catch block is there, and last finally whatever the finally code is there. The main intention of this finally is to release the resource, closing the files, and save the status of the process. In generally, whenever you are developing a full-fledged software, okay, whenever you are developing a full-fledged software, it main task is this one. Okay, so this is your try catch finally block. And now we will see one sample example. Class use finally, the name of the class is use finally. Here the same, we are taking public static void gen exception last class method, but here the program is different. Don't expect the same program. Now let us see public static void gen exception int what it consists of one parameter. I'm defining one variable entity int nums is equal to new int of 2. You have created the size 2 of array variable nums and normal variable, right? Now you are displaying the output system.out.println receiving plus whatever the parameter you passed, you are printing that. Okay, now you are writing the try catch block in the switch, whatever the what value, according to that you are writing case 0, case 1, case 2. If it is a case 0, t becomes a 10 and you are giving the t is equal to 10 by what, and you are generating the break. Okay, so it will cause as generate divided by 0 error, and if it is case 1 nums of 4 is equal to 4, it generates array index error, and case 2 return from the try block. Okay, this is a switch case statement we have specified for the try block. If a case 0 is matched, it is an arithmetic exception. According to that arithmetic exception, you have return, and you are giving the return to the control, where the control will comes to your main method. Okay, and if it is array index out of bound exception, here it is causes, right, because the size is 2, you are trying to access the out of bound exception, so it is an error. It will match this catch block array index out of bound exception, and you are displaying no matching element found. And finally the system leaving try. Okay, finally block is exist rather than this try catch block. Finally statement will evaluate and gives leaving try, leaving try. Okay, yes, here the program ends, but we have not seen wherever the main method. Let us come here the continuation of the program. Here class finally demo is there. You have to save this file with finally demo. It consists of a main method public static void main string args. Here we have specified the for loop for int I is equal to 0, I less than 3, condition true, use finally class dot gen exception of I. Now what is the value of I? 0. So where it will goes, it comes here, what value is 0. Okay, so once again it comes here switch off 0. So switch off 0 means 0 equal to 0. It will matches the case 0, 10 by 0. So automatically arithmetic exception control will come here, and it will print count divided by 0 error, and control returns here once again. Okay, afterwards I value incremented, now I become 1, 1 less than 3, condition true, use finally class dot this method I'm calling, I'm passing the value as 1, now the what value become 1 and you are displaying 1, now it matches the case 1. So case 1 you are accessing array index out of bound exception, hence it will break. Okay, after the break it will come to the array index out of bound exception, no matching element found will be printed, right? And next it will come here and I becomes 2, 2 less than 3, condition true. Once again we are calling, now case 2 is matching, it will return from the try block. Next immediately it will go to the finally, it print leaving. Okay, yes. Now if you run this program, receiving 0 can't divided by 0 leaving try, one time it has executed, receiving 1 no matching element found leaving try, it is executed, receiving 2 leaving try. Likewise this will be executed for multiple times. So here case 0, case 1, case 2 is acting as in a process. Case 0, case 1, case 2 is acting as in a process, as we have learned in your operating system by various algorithm techniques, right? Clear? Okay. Now using throws, already we have learned this throws, now we will learning once again the same throws. Okay, in some cases if a method generates an exception that it does not handle, so in some of the cases we have to identify some of the methods will generate an exception that it does not handle. So directly it doesn't handles, it must declare that exception is a throws class. Some of the methods must be defined throws class. Okay, here is a general form of a method that includes throws class. So if you observe some of our first second programs, in the main method I have specified public static void main, that is a method, right? I'm giving throws IO exception, throw IO exception, throws IO exception, right? Clear? So likewise, sometimes it requires the methods can't directly identify the exception. In that cases, we have to declare that we have to redefine that method with throws exception classes. So here we will see retype method name parameter list throws exception list. Okay, here return type is either void integer double char or anything, method name parameter list, after this it consists of a throws and exception list. Okay, yes, here exception list is a comma separated of a exception that the method might throw outside the body. Here a set of exception list may exist, set of exception list may exist. Okay, you will find this in your part A program. In your part A program we are using various kinds of exception. In your part A lab program, third question onwards, you will find a set of throws exception list. Okay. Okay. Now, a throws class lists the type of exception that a method might throw. A throws class lists the type of exception. So you are specifying your exception, or it might throw a set of different exceptions. Okay. This is necessary for all exceptions except those of type error or runtime exception or any of their subclasses. This is necessary for all exceptions except those of type errors or runtime exception, okay, or any of their subclasses. All other exception that a method can throw must be declared in throws class. Whatever the exception that a method throws, whatever the method throws an exception that must be catched by this throw must be available in this exception list. Okay, yes, if they are not, a compile time error will result. If you have not specified this throw, then automatically a compile time error will result. We will see how it will result. Okay, now let us see this example. I think it is visible, right? You want to zoom? Let me want to zoom. Yes, let me zoom it. What is the name of the class? Throws demo. Okay, here I'm defining the method. What is the name of the method? Throw one. What is its return type? Void. And what is its another variable keyword you are using? Static. So this is the static method. Okay, throw one. Here it is entering and I'm displaying one output statement inside the throw one, inside the throw one. Now please observe here, already we know by using this throw you can create your own exception, right? Already we have said you can create your own exception, right? So here we are creating our own exception. Please observe here, this is the exception list. This throw I'm creating. What is the name of my exception? Illegal access exception. What is the name of our exception? Illegal access exception. What I'm supplying here? Demo. Okay, what I'm supplying here? Demo. Okay, so here the method ends. I'm writing the main method. What is the name of the main method? So what is the main method? Public static void main string args. Public static void main string args. Now please observe throw one. What is this throw one? You are calling this method within this class only. You are calling this method within this class, right? Here the class ends. Here the class ends. Got it? So whenever you call this method will execute. It will show inside the throw one, but we do not know what is this demo, right? So throw new illegal access exception. To understanding this, we are creating one more class. Okay, this is a throws demo. Here throws demo, right? I'm implementing this program. Here the program has a hand, but we do not know what is this demo. This demo must be the parameter I am supplying this illegal access exception. This demo may be the value I am supplying this illegal access exception. This illegal access exception must be present in your throw classes. Okay, so if it is present, this value is supplying there. Okay, now we are modifying this same program. Now we will understand what it will be happens. Class throws demo. Okay, it will gives us a compile time error because it doesn't know what it has to supposed to do, right? It doesn't know what it has to supposed to do, hence this program contains an error and will not compile. Yes, if it is exist only, this value will be supplied, but we do not know whether it is compiling or not. That is the problem will happens here. To understanding the same program better, we will see now here. Class throws demo. I'm taking static void throws one, right? This is the method, right? Throws one, and I'm declaring this method with throws illegal access exception. Throws, I'm declaring this method with throws illegal access exception. Which kind of exception it is? Illegal access exception. It has to catch illegal access exception. Now you are writing output statement. What output statement you are writing? Inside throw one, right? Now you are using throw keyword. Throw new illegal access exception. So if illegal access exception is identified, it has to return the value as demo. Okay, now you are writing the main method. In the main method you are using once again try catch block. In the try block you are specifying try one. You are calling this method. It consists of a illegal access exception, so it is rectifying. It doesn't give it now as an error. Now it compiles and it is giving an error. Through this class you are supplying this value. Okay, so now in the catch block what I am doing, please observe here. Illegal access exception e. Illegal access exception e. In this e, this demo will be passed. Okay, in this e, this class, this parameter is exist. This e will be passed. Okay, now whenever you displaying the system.out.println, cot plus e will come. Cot plus e. What is the e consist of? Demo, right? So whenever you try to execute this program, it will give caught java.lang dot illegal exception. How the error will comes? Caught java.lang.illegal access exception. Already illegal access exception is exist, and you have declared that method with illegal access exception, and you are supplying the parameter as a demo. So whatever the catch block is catching that value, it will give the caught value as demo. Okay, what it calls java.lang.illegal access exception, and it is demo. So likewise you can create your own exceptions by using throw keyword. Okay, and also it is better these kinds of throws whichever you are rethrowing in your superclasses also. Hope you understand this concept. We will meet in the next class. Okay.